Hello everyone, Jane Bellante, brand ambassador for Paint Pixie. I have this really cool old vintage toolbox that I am going to make over today. And I'm going to be using the Paint Pixie Magical Chalk Paint in Saltwater Taffy, Chai Latte, and Foggy Martini. And then the two brushes that I'm going to use, I might grab a couple more, but I'm using the Turquoise Iris's Shortstop. I love this brush so much. I'm going to use this to blend. And then I'm also using our brand new brush, Stipley, and I'm going to be stenciling with this. I love the dark wood that's on this, and it's highly textured, so I'm going to let some of that come through. And I'm going to use the Foggy Martini and the Chai Latte. I'm just going to blend them together. And what I love about these is the flip top. They're so nice. I can just squirt my paint right on. I'm just going to start with a little bit of the Chai Latte. And then I'm going to just squirt a little bit of the Foggy Martini on. So I'm really pressing hard on my brush because I want the paint to be pretty thin, and I'm spreading it all the way through. It doesn't have to be thin in all areas. I'm also going to take a piece of sandpaper and bring some of this texture out in the end. But I do not want a thick paint on here. So this has these really beautiful, I don't know what they're called, just they're metal, like they're almost like a bracket. And I really am loving just a really flat brush over the top. So I'm still getting a whole bunch of that rusty look. But I'm giving it a little bit more dimension by highlighting those edges. It's really pretty. Since I want this look to be preserved, I am going to put one full coat of the force field on top of this, and that way it's not going to reactivate when I put anything else on top. And that's really going to bring out that beautiful color of the wood. I love that. All right, so I'm getting Stipley out, and then I'm going to use the saltwater taffy. I'm just squirting it onto a piece of plastic here. So I'm just going to use Stipley. I'm going to dunk it in there, and then I'm going to offload. You can use a paper plate. This is just a piece of plastic, whatever. And then head over to your stencil. And you can either stipple with Stipley, or you can push and swirl, which is the method I'm going to do. This is just a little bit of a softer look. And I'm going to continually reload in my offload pile here. Only putting more paint over there when I'm really dry. Ooh, I love that. Okay, so now I'm not just going to do the pattern across because it'll look pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry this with my heat gun, and then I'm going to use various parts of the stencil to connect this together. And so it'll be a bit like a puzzle. So you can see here I shifted it down just a little bit. I'm just going to hold it pretty snugly with my hand so it doesn't move. So I'm just repeating this process over and over, just connecting the lines in various places and wiping up some of my mess along the way with a wet paper towel. So I have a few smudges on here where my stencil was wet on the bottom. But what's so great about this magical chalk paint is that it reactivates with water if it's not top coated. So when I'm using this little paper towel here with water, it's not reactivating the chai latte or the foggy martini because I put that whole layer of force field on ahead of time. So I'm just going in, there's a few little spots on this one, this last one, I wasn't very careful. So I'm just going in, I've got a wet paper towel and I am just cleaning up my messes. So now I'm gonna use my Pennelly Giuliani. It is number 40. This has a really, really soft bristle, and because this paint is activated, I'm using a soft bristle to put on the force field so I don't smear the paint. So I just want a very light touch, and the soft bristle is not going to grip onto what's already here and pull it. I have our Bee's Knees wax in Black Magic, and then I'm going to use our flat top, it's the 1C, to just apply some of it into some little areas here to bring out some of that darkness that you see. Ultimately, I decided to go over the whole thing with the Black Magic. I just really like how it brought out not only the wood tones, but it really, really helps to make this look old and grungy. Now I've got Buffy, and I'm just going to take that horizontally, just side to side, and I'm going to buff the wax. It's going to give it a really good shine, but it's also going to make sure that it's distributed completely evenly. I finished the entire box using the exact same steps that I just showed you. And I always have a ton of transfer scraps laying around, so I found some dragonflies, some text, and some numbers, and added those as well. One side note, since I did put the wax on first, I put an entire coat of soft gel over the top so that the transfers had a really good place to stick. Had I put them right on top of the wax, it would not be archival and they would rub off very easily.